Welcome everybody to Tales from the Jar Side, the Cousin IT newsletter. This week's title is JCrete Unconference, YouTube videos, social media wars, passive aggression in song lyrics, and tweets, toots, skeets, and whatever the heck they're called on threads. The subtitle is, I tried to come up with a carpentry fund that... I've already messed it up. You believe it? Let's try again. I tried to come up with a carpentry pun that would work. I think I nailed it, but nobody saw it. Oh my goodness. Here's my rim shot. Ready? There you go. So let's try that again. I tried to come up with a carpentry pun that would work. I think I nailed it, but nobody saw it. I apologize. I'll try not to do that again. Welcome, fellow jarheads, to Tales from the Jar Side, the Cousin IT newsletter for the week of July 2nd through 9th, 2023. This week, I attended the JCrete Unconference in Hania, Crete. Got home late last night. My arms are still tired, right? Of course, I also have a class this week in the India time zone, so that's not helping me recover from jet lag very well. Regular readers of and listeners to, and of course video viewers of this newsletter are affectionately known as jarheads and are far more intelligent, far more sophisticated and attractive than the average newsletter reader or listener or viewer. If you wish to become a jarhead, please subscribe using the button on the website. That's my cue to also check out the YouTube channel, Tales from the Jar Side. Let's make sure it doesn't play the video right off the bat here. Oh, it didn't. How about that? At any rate, here it is, and I am up to 468 subscribers, 89 videos this week. I have this little, what they call TubeBuddy plugin, so that I can see the number of views, the number of videos, and how they've done the last 30 days, and get some statistics here. Just enough to drive me crazy, you know. I mean, I shouldn't even bother with this sort of thing, but it's all there. Okay, so now back to the newsletter. Let's talk for a moment about the JCrete Unconference. Now, I'll have much more to say about it in upcoming weeks, but I should point out I've never been to an unconference before. I didn't know exactly how it was going to work. I mean, I was told, but I didn't experience it until I got there. The idea behind the conference is you get a bunch of bright people together. You start each day by having people propose a talk they would like to give, although they're not supposed to actually present a whole talk. They're just supposed to introduce the topic and then invite the audience to participate and make comments and discuss whatever they want to, and whatever happens, happens. And it worked better than I was expecting. I was a little worried it would be too many people who are highly opinionated and like to hear themselves talk. And there was some of that, but less than I feared. I've certainly never been in a room with more deep knowledge of the Java language compiler or libraries. I mean, there were people there who work on the JVM. There was at least one talk. Kay Horseman was there, who's the author of the Core Java series. And I'm a great admirer of his. And he's giving a talk on the enhanced switch statements and showing up some quirky features, only to have one of the guys in the crowd, Remy something or other, who works on the JVM, say, oh yeah, we fixed that in the next version, or this was debated and we decided to go this way on it. I mean, that's the kind of knowledge that was there. Half of it, I had no idea what they were talking about, but it was fun. I did meet a bunch of great people, some of which I'll mention. I learned a lot. The travel was kind of tough. We had to fly through Heathrow, and well, if you've ever seen Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the show, I've been convinced for decades now that there's a hellmouth residing underneath the George Washington Bridge in New York. That's the only explanation for the level of evil generated by that place. I'm pretty sure that there's a pretty good one opening up underneath Heathrow Airport too, especially given the security people. Oh my goodness. At any rate, nobody cares about travel issues, so I'll just move on. So it's all security theater, and for all I know, they based it on our system, which is equally chaotic. I think I'll be processing this one for a while, as I said in the newsletter, but first I have to get over the jet lag, so expect more details in the future. I was going to include a picture, but I'm really bad at taking pictures. I don't have a lot. Bruno, who I'll talk about in a minute, put a bunch of pictures up, and I'll probably grab a few of his and add them to next week's newsletter, just to give you an idea what happened. We did, my wife came along. We went out to dinner every night. We had a good time. She had a wonderful time. We spent some time in the pools, and there were beaches, and there were a lot of charming people. It was fun. Okay, now the YouTube activity kind of focuses on that live stream that I did with Bruno Souza. Now, you may not know Bruno Souza as Bruno Souza, but just about everybody in the Java community is familiar with the Brazilian Java man. BR Java man is his handle on virtually every social media platform, in addition to his own YouTube channel. Well, I got the chance to talk to Bruno, and he agreed to do a live stream from the conference with me, and he forgave me for misspelling his name. I can't believe I did that. I got it right in the title and everywhere else, but putting together the thumbnail, I must have rushed it, and I didn't even try to get the time zone name right. I think it's Eastern European Summertime, ST. But anyway, it was GMT +3. And there's the live stream link. And we actually had a fair number of people attend. It was kind of fun. We really got going with some enthusiasm. As I say here, one good result is I got to hang out with Bruno. This one was fun. Bruno has a large following of his own, and he's way better at marketing than I am. Admittedly, so are most people, but Bruno is especially good at it. Best of all, he's a fan of my Managing Your Manager book, which has the unfortunate title, Help Your Boss Help You. I prefer to still think of it mentally as Managing Your Manager, but we spent a lot of time on that, on how to build a relationship with your boss that gets you what you want in your job and in your career. I've known Bruno for years on site. I've said hi in passing, but I never really did have a chance to sit down and talk to him. So if you're curious about him, I put in his links for his Twitter feed for the remaining few days that Twitter survives. He's also on Instagram. He's got his own YouTube channel. That's at BR Java Man. He's on LinkedIn, and I think there's several other places as well. We both really got going. So there's a lot of enthusiasm in that stream. So enjoy if you want. If I take a look at the YouTube channel, then that stream has gotten 157 views, which, wow, that's pretty good for me. Again, that's a lot. Okay. One of the things I did during the week is, even though I was at a conference and I had all this other work to do, I took last week's newsletter video and extracted some other videos out of it. I took the rant I went on in last week's newsletter about Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk actually getting into a physical fight, and there was an offer to have that in the Roman Colosseum. You may recall this from the section in the newsletter the previous week. I extracted that into a YouTube short using that JCrete program and posted that, and that has done reasonably well also. There it is, and that's got over 100 views, 108, and again, for me, that's not bad at all. So there's the link to JCrete in case you're curious about that program. It's very useful. I think one of the most remarkable events of this previous week is that Elon has offended so many people and has done such a horrible job trying to run Twitter into the ground that he's making people root for an amoral robot like Mark Zuckerberg with the new Threads app. It's astonishing. I mean, if the Threads app had been released a year ago, I don't know that anybody would have cared. They largely would have yawned. But people are so thoroughly sick of what Elon is doing to Twitter that they all flooded to it. Now, some of that's kind of artificial. I'll talk about more of that a little bit later. In the meantime, however, I took another section from last week's newsletter, the part where I tried to get the brand new AI assistant inside of IntelliJ IDEA and have it fix my parameterized test in JUnit in order to be able to use a text block. I extracted all that into a separate video, and I hopefully this time made a thumbnail that even my son, my official social media consultant, will find good, will approve of. And I haven't run it by him yet, so hopefully he'll like it. That video is doing, let's see, how's that doing? 74 views? Yeah, okay, good. I mean, that's fine. Okay, I already basically summarized this. This current week, I'm incredibly busy. I've got 3 or 4 different classes all running in 4 days. I'm not sure how much chance I'll get to put together new videos. I am doing the newsletter video, obviously, and I'll see if I can extract something from that. Next week, I'll be at UberConf in Denver, and I have, I don't know, 6 or 7 talks to give, most of which are ready, one of which I'm still playing with. So I don't know how much time I'll have then either. But when I get back from UberConf, life will calm down a little bit. At least I hope so. And then I can get back to the channel. So when I wrote this yesterday, I was up to 460 subscribers. As we see here, I'm up to 468. So hey, life is good. Next section. The social media wars. There's got to be a Star Wars pun in there somehow, or a way to say that relates to it. Maybe I just need the font or something, but I couldn't think of anything on the fly. As I mentioned, Meta / Facebook / Instagram, whichever one you want to blame it on, released Threads last week. And Instagram is what it's directly tied to it. They even call it Threads for Instagram. And they artificially import your Instagram graph of followers into Threads and make it so you're automatically following all those people and they're following you. In fact, one of the things that I think is highly questionable about Threads is that as people join who you are connected to or aware of on Instagram, you automatically follow them. You don't even have to ask. So it's no darn wonder their user accounts on Threads have been exploding. So people did notice that it's so tightly tied to Instagram that if you try to disable your Threads account, you wind up disabling your Instagram account too. For me, that's not a big deal. I've already said I'm not much of a picture taker. That's not huge. But for a lot of people, that's a big issue. I have some pictures on Instagram, but it's not something I use very often. I did join. I am Ken Cousin over there. The funny part about Threads is that it's app only. There is no web page. If I try to go to my profile here, then you'll see that it just shows this, and I haven't posted anything yet. And if I try to go to the Threads app, it wants me to go to the actual app store and download it. See, that's the actual threads.net site. It's just a QR code to download the app. So it's going to be really hard to share things from there on the regular web page. So far, my impression is the app looks pretty clean. It looks well done. It looks like Twitter from, I don't know, 5, 6 years ago, I guess. But there's no chronological feed, or what I really want is a reverse chronological feed that remembers where you were so I can always catch up. You can't restrict your feed to just the people you follow. You're stuck in an algorithmic feed, and it's full of people that you never really planned on following. If you like that, well, great, but for me, that's just lots of clutter. It's a lot of self-marketing, a lot of people trying to be funny. I'm not really all that interested in it. I thought it was pretty well done, and I did join. I'm not sorry I'm there. I'll post the newsletter links there and everything, but I don't know that I care that much about it. I know they've exploded. The question is will people still be using it a week after they join? That's what we'll see. Of course, this drove Elon Musk up a wall. Of course he did. He started calling Zuckerberg names on his own Twitter feed. Of course, you know, Musk did that. And he had his lawyers send this incredibly vaguely worded letter saying, we're going to sue you over we don't even know what, for doing something wrong that isn't even illegal. And who knows? And I can only imagine that the people at Threads were absolutely thrilled by this, because it means they're getting to them. You know, they really do. And I saw an article today. I don't have a link to it handy, but I saw an article today saying that the user count at Twitter has really started to drop fast. Like they've had 5–10% drop just in the past few days. And I find that enormously amusing. Not that I'm sad I'm letting go of Twitter, but I am letting go of it. And it's all Musk. I mean, he's not going to blame himself ever. He'll blame Zuckerberg. Whereas the place I enjoy the most still is Mastodon by far. So at any rate, Threads was 70 million users. I think they've broken 100 million by now. These are numbers Twitter can't even dream about. So just for the record, I thought I'd put all my individual accounts here just in case you want to see it. So my Twitter account, I'm not going to shut it down because one of the things that they supposedly do on Twitter, if you're not careful, is they will reuse discontinued accounts. And I don't want anybody picking up my account, so I'll just let it linger until Twitter dies or whatever. But I only go there occasionally, and I haven't been in days. And if you knew me, I'm one of those people who always caught up on his Twitter feed like every day for years, always did. So that's a big deal for me. So here's Twitter. Here's my LinkedIn account. There's my LinkedIn profile. If I open that up, you can see it here. It's got the Cousin IT logo and everything in there. My policy on LinkedIn connections, I think I mentioned in the newsletter here, is that I basically accept links from pretty much anybody that is not obviously a recruiter or trying to sell consulting or coding services. I'm not terribly discriminatory there. And of course, if you mention you're a jarhead, that's an automatic approval. You know, I'll be happy to connect with you. I have been very surprised how active I've wound up on LinkedIn, especially with the YouTube channel. I've gotten way more views from posting on LinkedIn than I expected. So I'll continue to work with that. Of course, there's a lot of marketing related stuff that I get tired of. I already mentioned Threads. Of course, my newsletter is on Substack. They have their other feature on Substack. If I go over there here to the overall thing, there's the notes feed as well. And I do post my newsletter there. So this is just showing my own post, but you know, they have their notes feed. I use it a little bit. It's not that valuable. Mastodon is what I enjoy. I like the community there. My number of followers is much lower, but I have much better engagement. I think Mastodon has been extremely successful, and it's something that the media doesn't understand because the media only understands profit. They want to know the amount of money being made, and if it's not all about profit, they don't know how to evaluate it. So a lot of the media people refer to it as incredibly complicated and difficult, and you know, people compare it to like Linux as an operating system. The only hard part about Medium, the only hard part is choosing a server when you join. And it really doesn't matter which server you pick because you could always migrate to another one. I haven't. I got in on Mastodon Social and that's where I live. But once you're in, you're in. And the best thing about Mastodon is you can follow hashtags. Like I follow a Java hashtag and a Groovy hashtag and a Kotlin hashtag. And that will lead me to individuals to follow as well. It's easy to mute people or unfollow individuals or hashtags for that matter. And I've been very happy with it. Haven't had any troubles, pretty much. Okay, there's an Android app for Mastodon that I use, which is called Tusky, just in case you're curious. There's a lot of good Mastodon apps, both for iPhones and for Android. Blue Sky is the new one from Jack Dorsey. It's okay. Again, looks like an old version of Twitter, and it's reasonably comfortable and non-hostile, you know, reasonably friendly. It's just not that much going on. It's not a lot of reasons to stay unless you find a couple people you really want to keep track of. So I go. It's still invitation only. And I think the rule is every 2 weeks they give you 1 or 2 more invites to give out. So I've given out a few, but I have more if you need it. At least 1, maybe 2 more. So if you need one, just send me an email, you know, and I will be happy to share out an invite with you. It's also a reminder, however, given the site, that remember, Twitter was already kind of a basket case even before Elon showed up. Jack Dorsey is not the savior of any of these social media sites. I mean, this guy's got his own serious issues as well. So I'll keep an eye on it, but I don't know how active that one's going to be either. Of course, there's Facebook. I put a link to my Cousin IT account on Facebook. That's the business page. If you're interested. I do have a personal account on Facebook, but there I only follow friends and family. Just here's what actually happened is a while ago they had my 40-year high school reunion, something like that. I think it was the 35-year high school reunion where a bunch of the people I knew from high school got together and formed a Facebook group. So that got me to join and be involved, only to discover pretty quickly a reminder that there's a reason I didn't follow all those people after high school. You know, the ones I did like didn't seem to show up there. Only a couple did. So I'm not active on Facebook. I mean, if Facebook's for old people, and I know I'm an old person, but still, we'll see how that goes. If you like it, great. I no judgment here. You do you. Now, Medium, of course, is what kind of killed my blog. I have my own blog, which is hosted on Substack.com, but I've been posting on Medium for my books. So I had a whole series on my Help Your Boss Help You book. I have a whole series on the Medium book, a bunch of blog posts there and more coming out. I actually now, I think I talked about in an earlier newsletter, I have some of those paywalled, so I get paid for it. In fact, I got a payment yesterday for the recent month, and it was, what, $2.50, something like that. So, yeah, okay. I mean, the quality on Medium ranges so wildly. Some stuff is just awful. Some stuff is really good. So who knows? And of course, I've been spending my time working on YouTube. I did put in a link, by the way, to Nebula. Nebula.tv is a fantastic creator-owned site that looks like this. It's taking a moment to come up, but these are all by creators. There's no ads. There's only a subscription service here. And I think this is just about the best thing around. So that's just Nebula.tv. I got my subscription bundled with a Curiosity Stream subscription. So it was only like $20 or $25 for the year, not a month. For the whole year is $20. I think it may be, since it's no longer bundled anymore, it might be 30 or 40, something like that. But it's still, that's a one-time yearly charge. In fact, they had a drive where they're trying to expand, and I now have a lifetime subscription. So I guess I never have to worry about that anymore. I don't know what made me think of this, but like the rats included in the strawberry tart in the Monty Python's Dead Bishop sketch, there's a dead bishop on the landing, So, there's rat pie and rat pudding and rat sorbet and, oh yeah, strawberry tart. Strawberry tart, yes. Is any rat in it? Well, 6, rather a lot, really. Anyway, that's arguably too many social media sites. One of my friends remotely, I haven't actually met her in person, but she's a jarhead named Meg. Hi, Meg. She suggested I take a look at Post News, and I signed up for that today. I'll take a look at it. I don't know that it's going to be real helpful for me. It's basically a bunch of journalists posting news items, which could be useful. I'm just not sure what I'll be doing with it, but I did sign up. So we'll see how all of this mix evolves over time. I'll keep you informed in case you're curious. Feel free to say hi on any or all of these sites. Let's move on to the next section. I don't know what made me think of this either, except that I heard an old song on my music service, and the song was Diary by Bread. And here is the YouTube link. I'll play just for a moment. Right, that's the one. So let's see if that gets flagged for copyright, but whatever. I'd heard that again, and of course, every once in a while, I hear a song from way back in my youth, and I go, gee, I got a very different perspective on all that now. And it starts off, Bread is ultimately incredibly depressing in general. They were an easy listening band in the 70s. This is one of their classics. And I found her diary underneath the tree, started reading about me. The words she'd written took me by surprise. You'd never read them in her eyes. She said that she had found the love she'd waited for. Wouldn't you know it? She wouldn't show it. At any rate, spoiler alert for a song that came out in 1972, I think. The diary entry's not about him. It's about the love she found and it's somebody else. And he finally figures that out, and he dissolves in tears, and then he lets her go and wishes her all the best. And it's an incredibly well-constructed song. I mean, they've done a great job of putting it together. It's got a real hook to it. It wraps you up, and then you find all that out. But with the benefit of age and hindsight, I can't help thinking he got set up. He didn't accidentally find her diary underneath the tree. She left it there for him to find. She couldn't say anything to him, so she let him infer that, oh, by the way, your whole life's about to be destroyed, and I don't want to get in, I don't want to be involved. It's like, oh, lovely. I mean, he is clueless at first. I mean, who expects that? But she didn't have the guts to actually talk to him, and makes it so he accidentally discovers the diary. It's like, oh, pretty sad. So given her lack of communication skills, her avoidance of any kind of conflict, I'm not optimistic about her future relationship, but the lyrics don't get into that. I don't know what happened after that. The Wikipedia page said the song only made it up to number 15 on the Billboard Hot 100, and I was really surprised. I thought it was a bit bigger hit than that. It did make it to number 3 on the easy listening chart, but that's much smaller. Any rate, thank you for tolerating yet another installment of my periodic series on looking back and taking seriously songs that were never intended for that purpose, an irregular series from Tales from the Jar side. Maybe I'll take a look at the Harry Chapin song Taxi, which is kind of a superior song anyway, and how questionable it was for the singer to finish off a six-pack and get stoned while he was driving his taxi. Doesn't seem like a good combination. Okay, let's move on to our tweets and toots, etc. Tweets and toots and skeets, oh my, and whatever they're called on threads. I think on threads, shouldn't they just be called threads, I suppose? Or it would be the height of irony for them to be called tweets, right? That would be funny, just in order to annoy Elon. Not that you need more of a push to annoy Elon. So this is one that was in a post. I forget where I saw it, but I didn't think it was original. So I just grabbed the picture. It's the Boromir looking at, well, in this case, he's looking at Twitter instead of the ring, saying, "It's a strange fate. We should suffer so much fear and doubt over so small a thing, such a little thing." And I did feel that way for a long time about the demise of Twitter. But since I cut back, it's remarkable how quickly I've gotten used to not catching up on it. I still catch up on Mastodon, but on Twitter, I'm like, oh, well, it's gone. That's not a good sign for Musk and the people there if they're trying to retain anybody. Because if somebody who was as addicted as me, I mean, I literally went years catching up every single day, and I'm more than happy to let it go now, and that's not good. This one from Dave Pell, who's an interesting character, said, "In Mastodon, I'm indie, and in Blue Sky, I'm edgy." Which, I don't know. Threads, I'm desperate. I don't know, maybe about that one too. Twitter, I'm a dick. Yeah, that one's got some evidence to it. A bit simplified, oversimplified, but there's something to it. This one was a celebration of the combination of the Barbie movie being released as well as Oppenheimer, both coming out, I think, like about a week. So this is trying to take the lyrics to "I'm a Barbie girl in Oppenheimer's world. Nuclear fission, it's a vision. You can touch my hair, split atoms everywhere. Infatuation, I destroy creation. Come on, Barbie, let's become death. Destroyer of worlds." I thought the technical term for the Barbie Oppenheimer double feature was Barbenheimer, but apparently the one that people are settling on is Barbieheimer. And I can live with that. All I know is it'll be pink, or at least half of it'll be pink. Let's move on. This was a little heavy. "When I was your age," says the boomer, obviously it's got to be a boomer, "I walked to school 2 miles uphill both ways, right? To school in the snow while holding a hot potato." And the kid says, "I had to hide in a closet while a mass shooter killed my teacher and friends." Yeah, okay, you win and lose. It's just appalling that we tolerate that in this society, and I'm helpless to do anything about it except complain, so I'll just point up the comic and move on. This one I titled "If You Know, You Know." It's good old Jean-Luc Picard saying, "There are 4 Twitters." That's a reference to the classic 2-part Star Trek Next Generation episode, Chain of Command, which is basically a weird plot to kidnap Picard for reasons that don't really make much sense, just so they can torture him, and we have a dramatic episode with him and the Cardassian, who I can't remember the actor's name, but is fantastic. He's great in everything. So basically it's a bottle episode of the two of them, interacting, and the Cardassian trying to get Picard to say there are 5 lights when in fact there are 4, and Picard never says there are 5, except he admits at the end that he was about to. So, okay. Sticking with the theme, there's Worf wearing jorts, and the person I saw this had tweeted this as Jorf, which I guess makes sense. I wouldn't want to call him Wart. That wouldn't seem appropriate, so Jorf seems a little bit better. Seemed funny, keeping to the Star Trek theme. This was kind of clever. This was a Mastodon post that said, "Human beings were never meant to be on a single social media platform for life. Archaeological evidence tells us our earliest ancestors hopped from platform to platform, following the migrations of the influencer herds, moving on when the soil was too depleted to grow new discourse." Yeah, I got a friend who is a self-described thought leader, and he uses the term extremely ironically, as a gag. And yes, following the influencers. If I ever grow the channel big enough to become an influencer, you know I probably went seriously wrong somewhere along the line. I like this parody of the "Am I the Asshole" posts, which my wife and son have been sharing and laughing at a lot lately. This also was on Mastodon. It said, "My uncle, 111 years old male, gifted me, 50-year-old male, a ring before leaving to go traveling. A close family friend, 2019-year-old male, told me to destroy the ring due to problematic associations with the jeweler who made it." Yeah, I bet. "But the ring is precious to me, and I would feel guilty throwing it away. Am I the asshole?" And yeah, okay. No, Frodo, you're good. But I think you have bigger problems ahead of you. One does not simply walk into Mordor, for example. So I thought that was funny. Moving on. I don't need to explain a Lord of the Rings reference, right? My audience is going to get that one. This was clever. "The first rule of Condescending Club is complex. I don't think you would even understand it. Even you would understand even if I explained it to you. I'm sorry." Oh, I can't even say that out loud. I'd feel awful. I mean, that's my job, right? My day job is explaining things to people that are relatively complicated and making it as simple for them as possible. But I thought it was funny. The next one says it all, really. This was from Matthew Sweet. He said, "Elon Musk is like a Scooby-Doo villain who dresses up as a ghost to scare everyone away from the theme park, but forgets that his business is theme parks." Yes, and he would have gotten away with it too if it hadn't been for those kids and their dog. That's what he needs. He needs a dog to take out Elon. But okay, that's pretty clever. The humor I put in when Twitter went down because you couldn't read more than 600 tweets at once is I tried to lean into the Proclaimers song. "Oh, I would read 600 tweets and I would read 600 more just to be the man who saw the message. Tweets unavailable. Try again later." Yeah. Da 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 da. Any rate, so that was my attempt at making fun of that whole situation. Good song though. I finally grabbed something from Blue Sky. It turned out a person named Simon Verhoeven, who I believe has been in a lot of my live streams. So, hey, hi, Simon. Thank you. Last week when I said I couldn't find a way to just find out what my likes were on Blue Sky, he sent me a link to this site here, just to show you what it looks like. Show my likes. Enter your handle and get a list of that profile's like posts, whatever that profile might be. So when I put in my own, if I put in kencousin.bluesky.social and click load likes, it shows me the ones that I have liked. But you could do that for anybody as long as you know their handle. And the source code is on GitHub. I haven't looked at it yet, but it's available. So that allowed me to find this one, which said, "The pub quiz asked which heavenly body orbited the sun at 1 astronomical unit." And I said, "The moon." And they said, "No, the answer is the earth." And I said, "That is literally the only thing in the universe that is not a heavenly body." And they did not give me the point. And yes, I'm still sore about it. And yeah, the guy's got a point, right? I mean, no pun intended. Wait a minute. I didn't do that on purpose, but let's do this anyway. There we are. So, okay, I thought it was funny. And finally, I'd like to point out the obvious. This is a tweet, actually. It says, "What do you call someone who points out the obvious?" Someone who points out the obvious. Or is that too obvious? Have a great week, everybody. Last week I was at the JCrete Unconference, who's, by the way, the people who run the conference are known as disorganizers, of course, for an unconference. This week, my schedule's insane this week. I don't know why I agreed to this. I'm doing a 3 half-day private class on India Standard Time, which means I'm teaching from 10:30 p.m. to 3:30 in the morning, my time, 3 days in a row. Then I have a full day deep dive into spring as a no-fluff virtual workshop and a Gradle tips and tricks workshop the next day. That's only half a day. And I'm also doing an evening class Wednesday, Thursday on getting started with Spring on the O'Reilly platform. So it's going to be nuts. And next week I will be at UberConf. So I hope to get the newsletter out before I leave. The challenge is going to be getting this video out for the same thing there. But so be it. Thank you for listening. Thank you. Hope you enjoy it. Hope you have a good week as well. Feel free to keep in touch. And I will see everybody next week. Take care.